awareness and in student politicization. It showed a willingness to use what we in South Africa have come to call direct action. And it goes back to 1985, in the years of apartheid, when we were struggling against apartheid. The ANC and the Communist Party were banned. The internal politics of the country had for many years been silenced by the force of the security police and the government. But in 1976, the school children of Soweto came out in a revolution. This was a very significant event. And it changed the politics of this country forever. It couldn't ever be the same again. The government managed to squash that, but it wasn't squashed properly because the student awareness was carried through. And in the 1980s, when the world was becoming aware of apartheid and the international banks were closing down their credits to the apartheid government, the people in the townships, through the, we can only call it the internal revolutionary movement here, adopted a policy of making the country ungovernable. And it worked. It worked better than the armed struggle. The armed struggle had been going on for years and it had achieved very little. But this movement worked extremely well. The people in the townships, and we've got thousands of them around the country, boycotted white shops, white businesses. They stopped buying from white businesses. They stopped paying rent. People who had bought furniture on hire purchase stopped paying their hire purchase. In other words, these people, and there were millions and millions of them, were making the country ungovernable. And that combined with the refusal of the international banks to continue financing the apartheid government were the things that really, there's one other thing that brought down the apartheid government, that was the sports boycott. That was a very important thing. The cultural boycott that the ANC promoted had very little effect, in my opinion. It was counterproductive, in fact. But the sports boycott was extremely effective, because if there is one thing that South African white middle-class people wanted, it was sports. Rugby, cricket, and among black people, soccer particularly. These things were very important. And the international sports boycott had a very powerful effect. So when finally the shit flew at the University of Cape Town, that to me was the signal for a new development. We're only beginning to see the effects of it, and I have to tell you, in my opinion, these are not democratic. They are it is a movement of domination in many respects. It is the movement of domination by a group of students or groups of students who have in turn pissed on our democracy. They are not using democratic methods. They are using the methods of direct action. So they have burnt down schools, they have burnt down an auditorium at the University of Johannesburg, a few kilometers from here. They have burnt down computer laboratories, science laboratories.
Is this the beginning of a new revolution?
I believe so, yes.